Hey again, everyone. This is your FlashBlack with an actual review this time. Well, something to review. Uh, I just finished my whole Tsunami video and everything, and I'll link the video to you once I finish with this video. But today I'm kind of doing something a little bit different. I know that there are people on YouTube who do the whole, chapter by chapter, volume by volume type review things of certain series like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, and whatever other series. Uh, that's because they really love those series. So I thought that today, and for every couple of weeks or whatever, I thought that I would do like a volume by volume kind of analysis, summary, review-ish kind of thing. One of my personal favorite series, and I really wanted to do this now since the series has already ended. And that would be Negima, Magister Negima. Uh, Negima is a series written and I believe illustrated, I'm not quite sure, by Ken Akamatsu, who is famous for Love Hina. Word from the author, hi, this is Ken Akamatsu. It's been a while. After taking a year off after Love Hina, I returned with my new serial, Magister Negimaga. Hope you enjoy it. Uh, so, a brief history on Negima, at least kind of how it came about. Negima came out, I guess, really what he said a month or a year. Over a year after Love Hina, and I'll cover Love Hina in a later review. But Love Hina is extremely famous harem series, and it's a very good harem series in my opinion. That has faults, one distinct, well, two real distinct faults. But it was a good series. It was a great manga. The anime was okay, but the manga was great. Uh, and so with Negima, what Ken Akamatsu wanted to do was he wanted to do a shonen series. He wanted to do like an action series, like Naruto, One Piece, or Bleach, whatever. But his editors were kind of like, "Oh no, we have you seen the money we made just now from Love Hina? What the fuck? You crazy? No, do another harem." So Ken Akamatsu had a very interesting response to this, and we'll cover this as we go along with this. So I guess what I'll really I'm really making this whole thing up as I go along is I will show the front of the volume and I will read the summary on the back and kind of go into like the character on the back and things like that as they kind of appear in whatever volume they are, or kind of how they're developed later on and stuff like that. And kind of just go volume by volume until I finish the series. The series is so also these like the kind of shitty Del Rey translations when like the manga really kind of got started or whatever. So the translations aren't perfect, but it's pretty it's good enough for what it is. I definitely recommend Negima because I guess I should kind of really go into this now before I really get into like it later on when it becomes a bit of an issue. Is that Negima isn't like the I personally do not consider Negima a harem, despite the fact that it follows the very basic harem formula. You have the male protagonist surrounded by a large cast of females, many of whom have an expressed desire to get with him in romantic sense. There is just one little thing about Negima though that really kind of distinguishes it from many other harems, and that is the age of the uh, main character. Let me just read the back of the manga to you. Don't touch that wand. 10-year-old prodigy Negi Springfield has just graduated from Magic Academy. He dreams of becoming a master wizard. Instead, he is sent to Japan to teach English at an all-girls high school. All the students are delighted with their cute new teacher, except for Asuna, who resents Negi for replacing the teacher she secretly had a crush on. Although he is forbidden to display his magical powers, sometimes Negi can't resist, and when Asuna discovers Negi's secret, she vows to make his life as difficult as possible. Just the thing to prepare Negi for the challenges of life as a master wizard. And yeah, so the main character is 10 years old, and he's teaching a class of starting middle, like end of middle, starting high school group. Well, 31 girls. And therein lies the reason why I don't consider Negima to be a harem series at all, for the most part. The main one thing I really kind of get on with harem series is that I truly believe in the bottom of my heart that if you are to make this a harem series, all the parties involved, mainly, the male protagonist and the women crushing after him, all of them need to be fully aware of the deeper issue here, and that is the romance that is, going to eventually bloom or sprout or whatever the hell you want to call it. We need to all have a comprehension and understanding of the emotions and relations and hearts of all those involved here. The main protagonist of Negima is 10 years old. So, already there's like an age gap between him and his students. So, that'd be about, what, 3 to 4 years, I guess? 3, 4, 5 years. So, you already have that. And then the fact that he is only, like I said, he's only, I keep going back, he's only 10. So, he doesn't fully understand what, love really actually truly is, like to fully be in love with someone of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever the hell, and to truly feel those emotions. I've never really been in love with anyone. I've had crushes on people, I had mass crushes on people, but I've never really felt like true, complete, unconditional love for another person my age, other than like an extremely strong friendship type love, but that's completely different. Uh, so that's why I don't really see Negima as a harem, because if your protagonist cannot truly grasp and comprehend what love is, then kind of you're kind of playing it safe, really, when you think about it. But kind of enough on that whole issue of why I don't really consider that a harem. Let's get on to like the actual story itself. So it starts off with Negi and a bunch of other students graduating from Magic Academy, and he gets his diploma saying he is going to be an English professor at Mahora Academy in Japan. Mahora Academy is an elevator school, as they call it. It's an institution that goes from like elementary or middle school through high school. So it covers like a number of grades and everything. And these do exist. These do exist. And the function of them is that it works kind of differently from regular high school in that you do not, like, because Japan does the whole entrance exam thing to get into like the next grade level, or stuff like that. So elevator schools kind of eliminate that whole problem of studying like hell just to get to high school, because you're going to be at pass right on up. You're going to go up the elevator anyways to get to the next grade. Although from what I have heard, you do have to take a test just to get into the school, and and I'm assuming that it costs like a shitload of money too, especially for Mahora Academy, which is stated in canon to have over 30,000 student funded at all times for the most part, and most students board the school, so it's a boarding school too. So he gets to Japan, and everyone all has the whole, oh, he's so cute, look at the little kid, oh, did you get off the wrong stop? This is for the middle school division, not elementary school. So he meets this girl named Asuna Kagurazaka. And if you've read Love Hina, you know right off the bat who Asuna is a very distinct link and callback to from the original series. Asuna Kagurazaka is half of Naru Narusagawa, the main female protagonist of Love Hina. And I'll get to like the other characters and their kind of callback to Love Hina and everything later on. He meets her and she's crushing on Takahata Sensei, who is like their English teacher, whatever. And Negi's all like, "Hey, I see heartbreak in your future," and she flies off the handle and she's ready to kill him. And so after a few embarrassing moments on her part, they are brought up to the dean. Asuna was walking with her friend Konika. Konika Kanoe is no callbacks to any previous Latina characters. Very kind of original character for the series. Konika is the granddaughter of the dean at Mahora Academy, and she, Asuna, and Negi are brought up to his office, and they are told that Negi is to room with them until they have an open space, which never happens. I mean, well, the open space one, but he's rooming with them perpetually. But the dean is a mage himself. Like a lot. Negi's not the only mage in the series by a long shot. So the dean informs him, keep on your toes. I'm giving you this one chance, but if you blow it, then that's kind of it. Here's your class roster. You're going to be rooming with these two, so there you go. So Negi gets into his classroom, and he is, it's one of those, like, prank the teacher type things where they set up an eraser and his ball in his head, and he steps and stumbles and ends up breaking it to death. He makes the mistake of, like, stopping the eraser with his magic before it hits him. And only Asuna sees this, and this becomes important very, very, very quickly. So the thing with Negi, with the whole, like, everyone treats Negi for the most part like, oh, he's a little cute little kid, and he's like he's like the cutest thing since like Hello Kitty to them. So his, I guess, like the kind of like the main hurdle he has to jump in like the first couple of volumes is kind of being seen as not just this cuddly cute little kid and more of I am your teacher, so you need to respect me as your teacher, despite you being like several years older than me. I have like a bachelor's degree in English, so and so after class, because his first class is pretty disastrous. All the girls come to have their very own distinct personalities and character traits to them, and Asuna, being the tsundere character, and a very distinct callback to Naru, has a very, very, very short temper that should not be pressed under any circumstance. And she frequently gets into it with the class rep. So after class, Negi's kind of like writing. He gets like a roster of like all the students and everything, and like he sees one of them. He sees this one here on the back. This is Nodoka Miyazaki, and I'll get more into her a little bit later. And Nodoka is is in the library exploration club. They have this enormous library at the school, and I'll get more to that later on too. But so she's carrying this huge stack of books, and she ends up falling off down a flight of stairs. Negi uses magic to save her. She doesn't see it, but Asuna does see it, and in the process of trying to erase Asuna's memories, because they leave before Nodoka wakes up, Negi is a decent mage in his own right. He's very young, so he can't really control his magic well at certain points. Negi specializes in wind magic, so when he sneezes or when he casts spells, sometimes he causes massive clothing damage, and this one is his most frequent target. Like when he first kind of ran into her and it was broke the news that she was going to be his new homeroom teacher, he sneezed and blew off all of her clothes except for her bra and panties. When he tried to erase memory, he erased all of her clothing from the waist down, including her underwear. So, you know, Asuna agrees to keep Negi's secret in hopes that he helps her to win Takahata. Uh, so this isn't really much of a plot point at all. It's kind of more like a little thing they throw away later on. But as soon as the facts from Takahata get brought up later on in the series, so it's kind of important. So they've kind of thrown Negi a party and kind of like show off some of like the talents of the different students and everything. And so Suna kind of leaves the party or whatever and brings Negi with him because she's like, I'm gonna confess to Takahata, and after Negi can like read minds or whatever for this like for this volume kind of, and the point of this is that it kind of establishes that they are deeper, that there's something deeper to them than what they appear to be, because Negi is extremely mature for his age. While Negi is similar to Keitaro or Shima from Love Hina, he is completely different. Negi is a genius at a young age. He is goal oriented. He is motivated, and he is, for the most part, successful in his endeavors. Whereas Keitaro fails, and it's like, oh, look at him fail. He'll get it eventually. But we're just going to watch him fail and laugh at it. No, when Negi sets his mind doing something, he will do it one way or another. And then it kind of sets Asuna too, because like what Negi, she's like, forget it, he'll never love me or whatever, and it's like no magic can help with that. And Negi says this great thing. Where is it? Where is it? Right here. He's like, my grandfather said, our magic is not absolute. True magic results from courage of the heart. And it kind of gives Asuna, because she was kind of like, after everything that happened to Takahata and thoughts that Negi had been reading from him, she's kind of like giving hope, like, oh my god, he's going to see me as this horrible, weird girl. And so it gives her the courage to be more courageous in her endeavors to try to win his heart, even though he's like, he appears to be about like 30 years older than she is, or like at least a good 20 years older than she is. But so that kind of ends the first chapter. The second chapter kind of sets up another important plot point of the series, and that is Nodoka Miyazaki. Here on the back, and kind of her relationship with Negi gets really touched upon heavily in these few chapters. And it also, we have our comedy, we have Negi brewing a love potion, which of course, we all know what happens to love potions. Love potions always work, but they fail spectacularly. In this case, they made the love potion for Asuna, but she's like, I'm not taking anything that why don't you take it? And so many of the girls in this class end up, fawning over him and like being all lovey-dovey towards him anyways. And so that's kind of that. And then we get on to the third chapter. The third chapter is fan service chapter. It sets up it kind of shows like really how big the school is, where they have like a bathhouse onto themselves, which is like a freaking indoor pool. And it kind of serves like gives Suna and Negi some like alone time-ish to kind of like get to know each other a little bit. And sets up, Suna has a part-time job and everything, kind of touch upon that, and then all the girls come in and, more magic mishaps. Negi ends up kind of blowing up Suna's boobs with magic, and the girls have this whole, like, breast competition thing to see, because they found out that Negi's rooming with Konika and Suna, and the class rep's like, well, I should be rooming with Negi Sensei, because I'm far more mature than all of you, and I have like, the the memories prove my adult, my maturity. And it kind of goes on to all the other girls, kind of showing like that some of them are far better endowed than what girls at this age really should be. Uh, and so we kind of settle the competition. Uh, 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 and so Asuna kind of win because of Negi's help, but and that kind of ends that chapter. The third chapter really does kind of show Asuna's part-time job and everything. Negi tries to help her more with magic, and then we get another bit of a plot point here that comes up later on as the Baka Rangers. Class 3A it's not a super realistic class, but it's kind of set up, you have your jocks, you have your athletes, you have your kind of secluded, quiet students, you have your troublemakers, and like every class, you have your class idiots. Not class clowns per se, but the students in the class that don't do very well academically. And there are 5 of them. There is Yue Ayase, student number 4, Sunakagrazaka, student number 8, Kufei, student number 12, Mikesaki, student number 16, and Kaida Nagase, student number 20. So they all have, like, the lowest test scores in the entire class. And so Negi's kind of, like, after school tutoring them and everything, and Suna kind of loses heart about it and runs out, and Negi chases after her, and she's like, "Why are you so persistently trying to help me with this?" And Negi's all like, "Well, it's my, as a master wizard, which is what I'm aspiring to be, it's kind of my job to really help people and push them in like the kind of not like the right direction, but kind of show them like the path or their path or whatever kind of thing like that." And it reveals really like Negi's truest motivation. Negi wants to be a Magister Mad Guy to find his father, Negi Springfield, who is called the Thousand Master, and like frequently alluded to throughout the entire series. He is what Negi aspires to be like. Negi gave Negi the staff that he uses. This staff right here. And we get more into how that happens later on. I'll talk about that much later on, like another review. It shows that Negi really is very much goal-oriented. And he says, I never have graduated magic school without it, referring to his dad. And if I keep studying, my knowledge will someday match its power. On that day, I know he'll return and say, well done. So that Negi really wants kind of Negi. It's implied here. I'm not going to go into it too much because those of you who have already seen the series already know. But it's very much implied that Negi was not raised by his parents, or didn't have very good relationship with his parents at all. So for yeah, people say that his father is dead, and so the fact that his father appeared to him and gave him the staff kind of proof that he's not. So it shows that Negi really is, this is my dream. And I know a lot of shonen series really do the whole dream goal aspect for their main characters, get something to strive for, it gives us kind of an incentive to watch them because we're kind of wondering, well, are they going to do it or not? This is by far one of the best examples I've ever seen of that, with a protagonist so young to really, I want to be my father, and I want to be like the best I possibly can be, because I know that once I become super strong and I'm capable of doing this, I know that one day he'll come and appear to me and say, you have done well. You are my son. You're doing great. Keep up the good work. Things like that. So it shows that Negi really is like. I want to say that it shows that he is a child at heart, despite that he obviously is one, because Negi acts far more mature. He has the typical anime manga child affliction of not acting like a regular child would. And I guess given the context of the series, it fits why Negi acts the way he does. If he has like a major master, like a bachelor's in English, and he has to be teaching the people that are far older than him, far more mature than him, it kind of helps that he is like the adult despite being the child among you know, kind of. I guess that's kind of what it's getting at. Uh, let me try this. Despite the fact that Negi is a child among adults, he is the adult among children for the most part, because Class 3A is already established as like the rowdiest, most uncontrollable group of students in the entire campus. So that's that kind of whole thing. And so to have a teacher who, while physically and kind of mentally is a child, for him to be more mature than they are, it really kind of sets up a who's who, like who's the child and who's the adult here kind of thing. Because even though Negi acts like an adult, Negi is a little kid at heart. This goal of his really kind of proves it. You know, people that don't know their parents, whatever, people who have distant relationships with their parents, I think it's kind of something that that those kinds of people want in their life. You know, they want that kind of, I want to be able to, you know, do this, and then one day my parents will like acknowledge me as something, you know, greater than, you know, you're just a son kind of. You know, I guess it's something like that. Let's see. So, and that kind of sets up what he is and why he does what he does, and so that also in turn inspires Asuna to keep on studying, and because Asuna has out of the five Baka Rangers, Asuna has the lowest grades out of all of them. Like she scores in like the low single digits, as compared to the rest of them who tend to score in between like the low double digits and the high single digits. But Asuna is by far the worst out of all of them, where she's getting like ones and twos on her tests. I mean, she's still getting, she's like by the end of the chapter she's kind of increasing, but she's she's her combined score on all of her tests is 10, but well, her grades are a 3, a 5, a 4, and a 3. So it, you know, genius Asuna is definitely not. And so now we have chapter 4, chapter 5. Yes, it's chapter 5. Let me. Okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Okay, yeah, this is chapter 5. Chapter 5 opens up kind of, it's the four jocks really of Negima are the four sports girls. There's Yunikashi in the basketball club. There's Akoizumi in who manages the boys soccer club. There's Mikei Sasaki who's in the rhythm gymnastics club, and there's Akira Okochi in the school swimming team. So it kind of opens up on them kind of playing dodgeball, and the whole focus mainly of this chapter, it is yeah, the main focus of this chapter is that it's a whole it's the fifth and sixth periods. Negima is divided to periods, you know, like kind of a class, you know, thing. So fifth and sixth period focus on this dodgeball game, and it's by far one of the most entertaining chapters of the first volume, besides the whole love potion thing and the bath incident, where it shows, you know, these girls from like one of the other campus divisions are like, we want your little kid teacher, and this is our spot for like where we practice our dodgeball or something like that. And Asuna and Ayaka are kind of all like, hey, you know, come on, because they see Negi and he kind of goes into the like, oh my god, so cute, let's take the little kid teacher. And as soon as Ayaka, the class rep, kind of comes in, and they're all like, no, we kind of challenge you for this whole thing. And as normal for these situations, Negi ends up being like the stakes for this whole thing. And so they're the whole dodgeball competition, and these girls, the opposing team is like they're like this national dodgeball championship team, but of course everyone's all like they have like a national dodgeball championship team or whatever. and they kind of sabotage it where they let the Mahora like negative thoughts like you can have like this big number of people, and they kind of realize too late once they kind of have a bit of a lead and their lead starts to diminish or whatever that having less people on a dodgeball team is kind of a good thing because the number of people they had to start with was like this huge number of like it was like most of the class or whatever on the dodgeball court, and so the other teams kind of had to like gently toss the ball to get like 5 or 6 of them out at once. Uh, and so it gets to this one point where they start losing, where the Negi's class starts losing, and it's mainly because they like got Asuna and Ayaka out, and they were like kind of using like cheap tricks or whatever, and so Negi's response to that is I'm going to use magic then. If you're going to cheat, then I will, I'll cheat back to show you do not mess with my students for something like this. And as soon as like kind of like, hey, no, come on. She says, how's it fair if we win by cheating, huh? Or are you only honorable when it's convenient? So it kind of sets up the whole. Even though Negi is leagues more mature and advanced and smarter than they are all mentally for the most part, he does still think like a little kid, and he thinks like a kid, a responsible kid with this kind of power would think in the situation where you know, hey, they're cheating. I have my own way I can cheat, and they're hurting my friends. So I am going to, cast my spell here and kind of show them who's boss. And, because the first one, Negi is extremely honorable, kind, gentle person who he thinks nothing of himself. He is always thinking of other people, and this shows throughout the entire series how good of a person he is. So all the other girls start to give up, and Negi's like, no, nobody gives up while there's a game to win. Asuna's right. Don't run or they'll nail you from behind. Face them. Use your skills. Be courageous in your heart. And you can perform feats of true magic. You can do this. So all the girls are kind of like, okay, we'll do it for Negi. And it's in this part where like some of the girls that are still left in the game, their own towns start to like show up. Like Dodeka Miyazaki, who works in the library club, she calls the Black Lilies, the other dodgeball team, on the 5-second rule, where you can't hold the ball for over 5 seconds. The ball of the team. And so all the sports girls kind of use their own sportsmanship talents to help to pull through Kufei and one of the other girls. They do Chinese martial arts, so you can imagine what their kind of response to that whole thing is. And at the end, Negi's team ends up winning. And the Black Leaders are kind of spiteful. And the team leader has kind of had this whole thing with Asuna where she didn't like Asuna, so her plan was to knock Asuna out by smacking her in the head with, and this is a volleyball they're using. So she was going to nail Asuna in the head with a volleyball. And Asuna and Negi takes the blow for her and kind of charges it up with magic and throws it back at them, and she catches it because there's not very much. It's about like I want to say it's like the distance between like me and like my bookshelf over there. So it's enough to where it's like, oh, you're standing right there, but it's like I'm gonna lob it back in you, and I guess he's infused with magic, so it strips all the girls into their team. And that was like the first volume of Negima. Hold on, there it is. Okay, it's dead. And that was like the first volume of Negima. So I guess I kind of want to get into my whole like analysis kind of thing or whatever for this volume. Uh, I mean, I kind of wasn't. I guess analysis is too much. It's too big of a word because that's going deep and taking out all these little like things and not really talking about them like I really know everything I'm talking about. But with Negima to me is like my second run for the most part, where I know the characters for the most part inside and out. There's very little to the characters that I don't know about because Kanakamatsu does his best to really show all the characters and their best and even kind of at their worst too. But the first volume is a great way to kind of start off and get the ball rolling. There's magic, there's hijinks, and for the most part, it doesn't come off too much like a harem. It comes off as more of like a kind of comedy series, and that's good. Uh, like even Ken Akamatsu even kind of goes into kind of like details like his sketches or whatever of the characters. Like there's a Sunen that's Negi or whatever, and kind of like the original design kind of going into that. Uh, uh, so and like a rough sketch of like one of the other teachers and like kind of like the class roster here. Uh, and they even have like a preview for like, the next volume. And just to let you know, like for those of you in case you haven't actually seen Negima, or at all, period, this is Negi's class roster. There are 31 girls in this classroom, and each one is extremely special in her own way. Uh, a lot of them are there's far more to them than their appearance would initially suggest. So I'll kind of get into each character, but the character I don't really want to focus on. Like right now, I guess it's kind of a bad time to really pick characters to focus on at the moment. I guess once I get into like the third, fourth, and fifth volumes, I can really start picking characters and talk about them in discussion. So I guess what are my thoughts on the first volume of Negima? The first volume of Negima it's great. It's a pretty great series all in all. There are a few flaws, I guess, in the translation of it. Overall, it's pretty good, but it's very, for the most part, faithful to the Japanese. Uh, you have a very diverse cast of characters. You have, let's see, you have obviously most of the girls are Japanese, but you have one, two, three, four. You have four girls who aren't Japanese, and they kind of add some diversity. You have a pair of twins. You have uh, uh, I'm really kind of want to get into that later on. Like I kind of want to like, oh, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this kind of things in your classroom. You don't know it yet, but I don't want to spoil it for you. So, the flaws of Negima. What would I say are the flaws of Negima? Like the honest to goodness, true things that could probably bring the series down. I guess kind of the humor of it. Like the humor of it is very kind of typical, somewhat slapsticky. Although they kind of like ease up a bit on kind of like the slapstick towards the main character because he's so young, I guess. And it gets kind of predictable. Like you kind of already expect what's going to happen in certain chapters. Uh, but for the most part, it's pretty well. I really don't know what kind of flaws I would address for this series. Uh, I might call like the dodgeball thing and the bathhouse thing. Uh, I wouldn't call all of it filler because it's not filler. It's just kind of fluff to get the ball rolling. So there's very little in here that creates too big of like an impact. But if like once you read it though, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I kind of want to see where this goes. So this is kind of uh my volume discussion on Negima. Uh, and like the further I get into the series, the more faults and flaws I will find in the series. Uh, so you know, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This has been your FlashBlack. As a FlashBlack because I flashbacked to a uh, because I'm flashing back to an older series and I'm black. So uh, that's that. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Let me know what I can do to improve. there's anything else, kind of. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it for now. This has been your FlashBlack. Signing off, and see you next time.